Hello and welcome back, YouTubers. I'm your host, Protomario, and today we're reviewing Blades of Time. This game is Tomb Raider. The end. Goodbye. End of the review. What? You guys really want a full review of this game? Okay, alright, fine. Let's go into it. So, it's not exactly Tomb Raider to the T, but it pretty much is. So, it's a hack-and-slash action-adventure game that's very similar to Dante's Inferno and Devil May Cry in the sense that it allows you to free roam in third-person view with melee weapons and distant weapons, but there is no button-smashing quick-time events. So, that's good, I guess. This game is a spiritual successor to X-Blades. Blades of Time is released in North America on March 6th, and it was developed by Gaijin Entertainment and published by Konami. It's available on the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC, and as well as a Mac, if you're really interested in it. The game features several abilities that Tomb Raider doesn't have. One of which is called Time Rewind, which kind of fits the title, Blades of Time. She can rewind time and make herself go back, which produces a clone of herself, and she can retrace her steps in the puzzle process, just in case she screwed up on a puzzle, or the player screwed up on a puzzle. I don't know why I'm referring to her in third person. Maybe because one of the game's serious downfalls that I'll discuss later. At any rate, this ability is vital in solving puzzles and defeating hordes of enemies, because there's going to be a lot of them in this game. This game also features an ability known as the dashing feature, and the mid-air dash feature, and the teleporting feature to enemies, which is very similar to the dash. Whatever. It has a lot of features in it, and it doesn't do anything new, but it does allow you to do what's been done very well, which is pretty cool, but it's boring. It allows for more than 40 sets of skills, including melee, tactics, combos, and order and chaos forms of magic, which is cool, I guess, but not really the place for this game, because, once again, it's really very similar to Tomb Raider. Why do I say it's similar to Tomb Raider? Well, you're dropped into a tomb, and the plot of the story is the gun-wielding treasure hunter named Ayumi, I think, finds herself stuck in a mysterious and dangerous island. While rich with bounty, this island is also caught in the throes of chaos magic. Ayumi soon discovers that it is also home to thousands of long-held secrets, including special powers and abilities that she can gain for herself. Using everything she can, she must find a way to defeat the armies of the menacing villains and the multitude of the treacherous traps in order to break free of the possessed island's grasp. So that sounds great, doesn't it? At any rate, you get dropped on an island, you find treasure, you move on to the next section. Well, this is an extremely linear version of Tomb Raider, and it lets you know that it's extremely linear by locking off sections of the rooms and forcing you to go into other rooms and unlock them by solving a puzzle or defeating a set number of enemies before that fake wall falls and allows you to go through the doorway. It is more or less Tomb Raider. A lot of people may contradict me and may even be upset that I'm stating that it's Tomb Raider, but it's just the blatant truth. So let's get into the core review of the game. Now that you have a backstory and you know a little bit about the game, the actions and things like that, how do they actually play out within the game? Well, your first encounter with enemies isn't that difficult. It's not until later on when you start encountering several new enemies and flying enemies that it ramps up the difficulty a little bit. So your health bar is next to useless. Yeah, you can take a hit, but you can probably only take 4 hits from a decent, powerful enemy. And some of the flying enemies are very difficult to take down in the sense that if they shoot you 2 times, half your health bar is gone. And if you get surrounded by a lot of enemies, you're dead. Naturally, This game takes after the difficulty factor in treasure hunting on a weird abandoned island somewhere in the Bermuda Triangle or something. But nevertheless, it's still frustrating to die after a long time between the autosave function. Now, the autosave does work, and it's very helpful, but at some points in the game, you're just really not wanting to go through it again, especially when you die cheaply by falling to your death. It's happened to me several times, but what are you going to do? So, the first annoyance, I would say, I ran into, and I really mean this, after playing for 2 minutes straight, I wanted to mute her. I didn't want to mute the game. The surrounding sounds are decent, the sound effects are great, it's cool, and even the totem that kind of helps you out has a pretty awesome voice actor and voice modulator or edits and effects. It's her. I don't know how to put it without sounding too rough, but she's more annoying than Navi to me from Zelda, and the fact is that she's annoying because she states the obvious, and she seems like she's talking to someone, which I could understand if the game didn't take itself seriously and address the player right up front, but they don't. They take this seriously as an adventure that you get dropped into, so she's constantly talking to herself, out loud, and making statements that normal people that talk to themselves wouldn't. Saying things like, what's happening around here? Oh my god, where's the treasure? Did I leave the oven on? How am I going to find my friends? I'd really like to go shopping. By the way, your heroine is a skimpy-dressed woman who has decided to get dropped into this island without any armor. Probably not a good idea. Anyways, moving on to the second annoyance. When you use your blades, there is a slight recovery delay. It is probably a fraction of a second, but it's still there. And boy, is it annoying. Why, you might ask? It doesn't really interrupt combat so much because you can perform very fluent combos. It interrupts the fact that there are randomly placed crates and barrels around that you have to slash, and these crates and barrels stick out like a sore thumb. Their graphics are horrible. But when you break them, there's a slight delay. And there's not just one or two randomly placed throughout your path. There's like 6 or 7, in a room, along the pathway, and with that slight delay, it's just like you want to tell your person, just go, slice the next one. Antagonizing, annoying, really got boring, and slowed the gameplay greatly. Continuing on, which flows into the next part, is the other problem with the controls. The right thumbstick pushing it in allows you to pull out your weapon and enter into control state where you can shoot things with your rifle or blunderbuss or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't care. Why the right thumbstick in? I don't know. The control setup for this game probably could have been done a lot better, but seeing how every button does almost a different thing, it just seems that the right thumbstick in kind of interrupts gameplay again. Those were the most annoying parts of the game, cheap moments and things like that. Other than that, it's a solid game. If you really like Tomb Raider games, if you really like action-adventure games, then you're going to be set. But if you're not into these games, and I truly am into them, and I just found myself turned off by this game, after a while of playing it, I got bored, because all you're doing is moving on to the next thing, and most of the puzzles are pretty easily solved. Overall, my impression of this game is definitely a rent, which I did. I got it on a rental from Gamefly, and not exactly a purchase. I would give this game probably a C for its mediocreness. It's not a bad game, just not a great one. And remember guys, if you enjoyed that video, please click the like button, favorite if you want to, and click the link down below in the description to donate to Gameovision. We are supported primarily through your donations. So have a heart and donate today to keep the lights on for us.